Now, the potential for the conflict to spread is even more evident in southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah militants and Israel have been involved in cross-border clashes since October the 7th. On Tuesday, Israel released a video of what it says was a strike against a senior Hezbollah commander. Israel says Ali Hussein Barji was in charge of Hezbollah's drones in southern Lebanon. Also on Tuesday, large crowds turned out for the funeral of another senior Hezbollah leader killed in an Israeli airstrike in southern Lebanon on Monday. For more, I'm now joined by DW's Abbas Al-Kashali, who is reporting from Beirut for us. So Israel says it has killed senior Hezbollah commander Ali Hussein Barji in a strike. However, Hezbollah denies this. How important is he actually?
Good morning, Aaron. First, I cannot confirm or deny that Hezbollah, the commander of Hezbollah, was killed. Some websites in Lebanon have confirmed this information, but sources from Hezbollah have denied it. Hezbollah usually mourns any of its fighters or commanders killed, publishing reports and photos about them, as we saw in the last few weeks, as example. However, the Hezbollah public relations website denied these claims, stating that the commander was never subjected to any assassination. Instead, it referred to him as a commander of the drone unit, indicating that he is one of the most important military commanders in Hezbollah. Hezbollah often maintains secrecy regarding to its officials' names or informations. It's a part of a long-standing strategy. Sometimes names emerge after their death.
So it seems Barji's fate is still as undetermined. Now, turning to the political side, Lebanon's prime minister said that he is ready for talks on long-term stability with along the country's southern border with Israel. But could he pressure Hezbollah on that?
Look, the internal situation and the economy in Lebanon are on the verge of collapse right now. The state is suffering from inflation, and the people in Lebanon are tired of frequent crises. The factors make Hezbollah think twice before escalating the conflict in the south. Hezbollah is aware of this. The Secretary General of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, has mentioned in his speech several times that he understands the internal situation in Lebanon. It's not a secret that there are a kind of coordination between Hezbollah and the government in Lebanon.
That was DW's Abbas Al-Kashali reporting for us from Beirut. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In the next few hours, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is due to meet with Palestinian leaders in the occupied West Bank. Blinken reiterated U.S. support for Israel during talks on Tuesday with senior Israeli leaders, but he also urged Israel to reduce the toll of the war on civilians in Gaza. Israel has vowed to destroy Hamas, which is classified as a terrorist organization by the U.S., EU, and other nations.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken is calling for calm in the region to prevent the war in Gaza from spreading.
Nice to see you.
Blinken held talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Washington is trying to balance support for Israel with limiting civilian suffering. Blinken emphasized the need to protect the people of Gaza and increase aid.
We know that facing an enemy that embeds itself among civilians, who hides in and fires from schools, from hospitals, makes this incredibly challenging. But the daily toll on civilians in Gaza, particularly on children, is far too high.
3 months of fighting have left Gaza devastated and thousands of Gazans dead. Blinken called on Israel to start planning for peace. He said it must do more to support moderate Palestinian leaders, to halt new settlements and stamp out settler violence.
It's our unique bond and America's enduring commitment to the people of Israel that allows, indeed demands, that we're as forthright as possible in the moments when the stakes are highest, when the choices matter the most. This is one of those moments.
The role of Iran has raised those stakes. Defence Minister Yoav Gallant said increasing the pressure on Tehran was critical to preventing the war from spreading. Iran, which backs Hamas, supports a network of militant groups throughout the region. Houthi rebels in Yemen have attacked and seized ships in the Red Sea. Hezbollah forces in southern Lebanon are firing rockets at Israel. While in Iraq and Syria, militants aligned with Iran have attacked US troops with rockets and drones.
We're determined, again, that we not see escalation, that we don't have the conflict spread, and we've made that very clear. But of course, if our personnel, if our forces are threatened or attacked, we'll take appropriate steps. We'll respond.
Blinken will continue his tour on Wednesday. He's due to travel to the occupied West Bank for talks with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas.
DW's Tanya Kramer joins us now from Jerusalem for more. So, Tanya, the U.S. Secretary of State has been trying to calm things down in the region. Is there any indication that he's having success?
Well, all we can say he certainly comes at a critical time, and as we heard in the report, now 3 months into the war in Gaza, but also heightened tensions between Israel and Hezbollah on Israel's northern border with southern Lebanon, but also in other regions like with the Yemeni Houthis in the Red Sea. So we've heard again from the US Secretary Antony Blinken that he's pushing to scale down the intensity of the strikes in Gaza, saying the daily toll on the civilian population in Gaza is far too high. He also said that he's pushing for this as an assessment mission to northern Gaza of the United Nations to see when Palestinian residents that had to flee or had to evacuate to the southern parts could come back home. Now, the Israeli military, on the other hand, had announced that they are changing their combat tactics in the north of Gaza, but they would be intensifying their offensive in the south, especially around the city of Khan Yunis. And on the other front, in the north, we're hearing from the United States, from Antony Blinken, that he said that he would push for a diplomatic solution, to find a diplomatic solution between Hezbollah and Israel. But having seen, in the past weeks, there have been a lot of cross-border attacks. This has been intensifying, so it's still to see whether this will work out.
And if we could stay with the diplomatic solution for a second, Antony Blinken also called for the realization of a Palestinian state when the war is over. However, that's something Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected in the past.
Well, this is certainly something that the United States and Israel, at least with this government, are not on the same page. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said time and again that he does not support the creation of a Palestinian state, and that is also certainly what you can say of his far-right religious coalition partners in this government. Benjamin Netanyahu has even said he had prevented a Palestinian state. But Antony Blinken made it very clear. He has talked to regional leaders, especially also he held talks in Saudi Arabia, and that's a bit connecting the dots. Before October 7th, there was talk about a potential normalization between those two countries, but he has made clear that those regional leaders only see a pathway, for peace and security in the region if there is a pathway to a Palestinian state, and that Israel would have to make hard choices.
That was DW's Tanya Kramer in Jerusalem. Thank you very much for your reporting.